In the high-stakes world of fine dining, chefs are more than just cooks. They're artists, visionaries, and for many, celebrities. But what happens when a chef at the top of their game disappears? No farewell, no explanation, just gone. Today we dive into the strange and mysterious case of Jeremiah Tower, a man who revolutionized American cuisine only to walk away from it all. Jeremiah Tower wasn't always a household name, but in the culinary world, his influence was profound. Tower's story begins in the 1970s, a time when American cuisine was still in its infancy. Fresh out of Harvard with an architecture degree, Tower found himself drawn to the kitchen, where his passion for food and flair for creativity quickly set him apart. His big break came at Chez Panisse, the now legendary restaurant in Berkeley, California. Under the guidance of Alice Waters, Tower helped shape the menu, focusing on fresh, locally sourced ingredients, a revolutionary concept at the time. This approach would be known as California cuisine, and Tower was its chief architect. But Jeremiah Tower wasn't always a behind-the-scenes player. His charisma and talent made him a star in his own right. He was the face of this new culinary movement, and by the early 1980s, Tower was ready to step out on his own. In 1984, Tower opened Stars in San Francisco, a restaurant that quickly became one of the hottest dining spots in America. Stars wasn't just a place to eat, it was a scene. Politicians, celebrities, and food lovers flocked to Tower's restaurant, eager to taste his innovative dishes and to be part of the glamorous atmosphere. Tower's menu was a testament to his philosophy, simple, elegant, and focused on the finest ingredients. Dishes like Sonoma quail and Dungeness crab cakes were celebrated for their fresh flavors and impeccable presentation. And at the center of it all was Jeremiah Tower, the dashing chef who seemed to have it all. For over a decade, Stars was at the pinnacle of American dining. Tower's influence extended far beyond his restaurant. He published cookbooks, appeared on television, and became a true celebrity chef before the term was even coined. But behind the glitz and glamour, there were signs that all was not well. The pressures of running a high-profile restaurant, coupled with Tower's relentless pursuit of perfection, began to take their toll. By the mid-1990s, cracks were starting to show. The restaurant industry is unforgiving, and even the most successful establishments can face challenges. Stars was no exception. The restaurant's popularity began to wane, and with it, the unstoppable momentum of Jeremiah Tower. Economic factors, changing dining trends, and the rise of new culinary stars contributed to Star's decline. But perhaps the biggest factor was Tower himself. The man who had built an empire was growing weary, disillusioned with the very world he helped create. In 1999, Tower made the shocking decision to close Stars. After 15 years at the helm, he shut the doors for good, leaving behind a void in the San Francisco dining scene. But what happened next was even more surprising. Jeremiah Tower disappeared. After the closure of Stars, Jeremiah Tower vanished from the public eye. For a man who had lived so much of his life in the spotlight, the silence was deafening. No interviews, no public appearances, no new restaurant projects, just nothing. Speculation ran rampant. Was he burnt out from the relentless pressures of the culinary world? Had he grown delusioned of the industry? Or was there something more personal driving him away? The truth is, no one really knew. Tower simply walked away, leaving a legacy that was both celebrated and shrouded in mystery. Over the years, Tower was reportedly spotted in various parts of the world: Mexico, Italy, and the Caribbean, living a quiet and private life, far from the kitchens and cameras that once defined him. For nearly 2 decades, the man who revolutionized American cuisine was a ghost, a legend remembered but unseen. Then, in 2014, Jeremiah Tower shocked the culinary world by returning to the spotlight. He took on the role of head chef at Tavern on the Green, a historic restaurant in New York City that had fallen on hard times. It was a bold move, and many wondered if Tower could recapture the magic that made him famous. For a brief moment, it seemed like the prodigal chef had returned, but the comeback was short-lived. After just a few months, Tower left Tavern on the Green, citing the overwhelming challenges of reviving the once great restaurant. And just like that, he was gone again, retreating once more into the shadows. This time, it seemed final. Jeremiah Tower had returned to the life of seclusion he had embraced years earlier, leaving behind a culinary world that had both revered and confounded him. What drove him to leave? Was it the pressure of fame, the changing tides of the industry, or simply a desire for peace? The answer remains elusive. Jeremiah Tower's story is one of brilliance and mystery, of a man who changed the way we eat, but chose to walk away from it all. Perhaps the greatest mystery isn't why he chose to leave, but what he found in the silence that followed. In the culinary world, where the pursuit of perfection can be all-consuming, sometimes the only way to find peace is to step away from it all. In doing so, Tower became an enigma, a legend for not what he created, but for what he left behind. Thanks for joining us on this story into the unknown. Let me know in the comments if there's any other stories that you'd like me to cover. And remember, stay passionate, stay focused, and keep moving forward with a purpose.